Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. The 2025 hooding ceremony of the University of Cincinnati College of Law is now convened. The audience may remain seated for the processional.
Please be seated. Distinguished guests, members of the faculty and administration, College of Law students, graduates, families, and friends, welcome to the 2025 hooding ceremony of the 192nd graduating class of the University of Cincinnati College of Law. My name is Haider Al-Hamoudi, and I have the privilege of serving as the Dean of the college. Before I address the class, I would like to introduce you to the members of the platform party. I'm going to ask them to stand as their names are called, and I ask that you please hold your recognition until all have been introduced. First, Dr. Chrissy Nelson, the Executive Vice President and Provost of the University of Cincinnati. Also my boss, if you run into her later, say something nice. It'd be appreciated. Lauren Schwab, the member of the class of 2025 and the president of the Student Bar Association. Lindsay Burke, member of the class of 2015 and this year's recipient of the Nicholas Longsworth III Alumni Achievement Award. Brandon Craig, member of the class of 2009 and president of the Law Alumni Association Board of Directors. Michael Chiaffi, a member of the class of 1979 and this year's distinguished speaker. Professor Sean Mangan, Associate Professor of Law and this year's faculty hooder. Professor Elizabeth Lenhart, Professor of Practice and this year's Assistant Faculty hooder. Professor Emily Ho, the Gustavus Henry Walder Professor of the Law and Contracts and this year's faculty speaker. Please join me in recognizing these distinguished participants in today's ceremony. Next, I'd like to introduce you to the people who have guided you during your time at the College of Law, both in and outside of the classroom. I'm going to ask them to stand as their names are called, and I'll ask you to please hold your applause until all have been introduced. Professor Sarah Eads Atkins, Associate Professor of Political Law and the Director of the Legal Access Clinic. Professor Timothy Armstrong, the Associate Dean of Faculty and Research Professor Associate Dean of Faculty and Research and Professor of Law. Dean Kimberly Bailey, the Associate Dean of Academic Affairs and Professor of Law. Dean Cassandra Jeter Bailey, the Senior Assistant Dean for Admissions, Financial Aid and Strategic Communications and Marketing. Professor Jennifer Passion Bergeron, a Professor of Practice. Dr. Jacob Katz-Kogan, Judge Joseph P. Caneri, Professor of Law and Faculty Director of the Cincinnati Center for the Global Practice of Law. Dean Heather Crabb, the Assistant Dean for the Center of Professional Development. Professor Burke Lockwood, the Distinguished Service Professor of Law and the Director of the Urban Morgan Institute for Human Rights. Professor Sean Mangan, the Professor of Practice and Director of the Entrepreneurship and Community Development Clinic. Professor Andrew Mamo, Associate Professor of Law. And Dean Diane Margolis, the Assistant Dean of Academic Success and Bar Programs. Professor Shannon Price, a Visiting Assistant Professor. Professor Michael Salamini, the Donald P. Kleekamp Professor of Law. Professor Rachel J. Smith, Professor of Practice. Susan Steffen, the Director of the Master of Legal Studies Program. Dean Nora Burke-Wagner, Assistant Dean for International and Graduate Programs and the Director of the LLM Program. Dean Michael Whiteman, the Associate Dean of Library Services, Professor of Practice, and the Director of the Robert S. Marks Law Library. And Dean Rudy Craig Trejo, who arranged all of this for all of you, the Assistant Dean for Student Affairs and Community Engagement. Please join me in expressing, oh, sorry, I forgot one person, apparently. Professor Ryan Thorison, Associate Professor in this year's hooder as well. I'm sorry about that. Professor Kate Jackson is also here wearing the same robes I am. Columbia Law, and I didn't get a paper about her. I got a paper, oh, yeah. No. And now it's my turn to address all of you, the class of 2025, for the last time. And what I wanted to do as I address all of you in these times is to take a moment to tell the story of why I wanted to become a lawyer, from my childhood, and from a moment in another country that I hope that you find inspiring, or at least you might learn something from as you enter into this noblest of professions that you're about to enter into. My story begins with 4 knocks on a door in the middle of the night at a modest home just off of the famed Inner Karada Street in Baghdad, in Iraq. Now, this was the early 1980s, and in Iraq at that time, when you got that kind of knock in the middle of the night, it meant that Saddam's notorious Mukhabarat, the secret police, modeled on the Soviet KGB, were coming and they're going to take someone away. They always came in with their boots on, tracked a lot of mud, and would chit-chat for 15 tortuous minutes. In this case, they were looking for my 15-year-old cousin, Hassan. I was 9 years old or so at the time. And Hassan was somebody that I looked up to. In fact, I always asked my mom why I couldn't have his name. She said we had the first letter, and that was good enough. After the 15 minutes of chit-chat, when it was clear that this is who they wanted, my aunt fell to her knees, was pulling out her hair, crying and pleading. And they said, don't worry, Auntie. It's okay, we'll have him back before the dawn prayer. We just need to talk to him for a few minutes and just ask a few questions. His body was returned to us 7 years later, tortured beyond recognition, and only after we paid $400 to pay for the bullets that were used to kill him. There are many things that you forget from your childhood. There's a lot that sort of awaits you, but there's a pain and a grief that sort of I carry in my heart forever. And this is from that incident. And the reason that I tell this story, and the reason it's important to me, is because after the pain, and after the grief, and after the blinding anger, as I was going to high school, and it was only 100 miles northeast of here, what occurred to me is that the one thing that really, really stuck with me the most is that this is what happens when there are no rules. This is what happens when there is no process. And this is what happens, most importantly of all, when you don't have a professional group of officers of the court whose job it is to ensure, and whose professional identity is inextricably linked to the necessity of ensuring that those rules and those processes are adhered to. So when others tell jokes about lawyers, that's okay, let them do that. What we do is important. What we are going to be doing is important, and it is honorable, and it is necessary. We are the front lines for the preservation of the rule of law in American society. Deep in our professional DNA is that commitment. And to be absolutely clear, it doesn't matter whether you're defending a death penalty case or you're challenging or prosecuting someone accused of a heinous crime. It doesn't matter whether you're challenging an environmental regulation as unduly burdensome on behalf of a large energy company, or whether you're seeking an injunction against that same company for violating that very same regulation. It doesn't matter whether you're helping file a 501c3 for a religious organization so it can get a tax exemption, or if you're working for an organization to seek the back payment of taxes from an individual or an institution that hasn't paid them. What you do is extraordinarily important, because what you do is ensure the continuation of the rule of law, and by so doing, you serve as the lifeblood of a happy and a prosperous and a well-functioning society. I hope you remember that every single day you're out there. I hope that no matter how mundane your task seems, always bear in mind the importance of what you're doing, because nothing can really be more important than that. Trust me, I've been there. I know how the story ends when you let up on that commitment. I've felt it in a way that no 9-year-old child ever should, and that hundreds of millions of children have across this world today. What we have here in this country is very, very special. It is very important. Please don't take it for granted. Uphold it, defend it, and be prepared to fight for it with the ferocity of a Bearcat. Thank you. We're grateful to be part of a preeminent research institution whose support and dedication to the college has been essential to our continued success. On this special day, we're especially honored to have Dr. Nelson, the interim Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs and the Provost, for 2 more weeks join us. As the interim Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Nelson serves as the university's Chief Academic Officer. She provides oversight and strategic direction for all the academic colleges, the Graduate College, UC Online, and a collection of the state-of-the-art university libraries. Dr. Nelson oversees the human and fiscal resources that fuel UC's academic and research mission, with assistance from the academic deans and provost senior staff, while also supporting various aspects of faculty and student success. Provost Nelson is deeply committed to student learning and engagement. In 2015, following a distinguished 36-year career as a faculty member, interim dean, associate dean, and senior vice provost for academic affairs, Provost Nelson was named Professor Emeritus with one of the university's highest honors, the President's Award for Excellence. She was called back in 2017 to serve as the interim provost, and several months later was appointed to the position permanently. Following a 4-year term as provost, Provost Nelson retired again in 2021. She rejoined the university for a second time as interim provost on November 1st, 2024. As I say, she has 2 weeks left until her third retirement. We're looking forward to her fourth return and retirement again. But please do welcome Provost Nelson to the podium.
Good afternoon, graduates, friends and families, faculty, staff, and honored guests. What an extraordinary day this is for each of you sitting here in cap and gown, for your families who have stood by you, for the faculty and staff who have guided you on this journey. Today is a day of celebration, reflection, and promise. To our 128 JD candidates, 18 LLM candidates, and 19 MLS candidates, congratulations. You did it. You are now part of a powerful legacy and lifelong community. The University of Cincinnati College of Law is the 4th oldest in the country, and the first law school west of the Alleghenies. From a single room above the law offices of Timothy Walker to our remarkable new home on campus, UC Law has been a beacon of legal education for over 190 years. You are a graduate of a college that is bold in innovation, grounded in community, and active on the global stage. This year's graduating class is truly exceptional and is a testament to the excellence in teaching, learning, service, and leadership. You, our 3 Ls, were the first to open the doors to our new building, a symbol of progress and possibility. You've adapted to change and welcomed our new Dean Haider Al-Hamoudi. And through all of it, you have remained a tight-knit, resilient, and purpose-driven class. You leave here to take up roles across the legal spectrum, in business and industry, in government, in public interest, in clerkships, and in law firms, large and small. But no matter where you go, you carry with you a legal education that is intimate, distinctive, and deeply supported by the resources of a major public research university. And importantly, always remember that your principal objective is fairness and equality. We are guided by law. Our LLM graduates, representing nations across the globe, including Italy, France, Argentina, Colombia, Kazakhstan, and India, now return home with more than a prestigious degree. You leave with a global network, deep insight into the U.S. legal system, and a strengthened foundation for what I know will be impactful, influential careers. And to our largest MLS graduating class ever, you are proof that the value of legal education extends beyond the courtroom. You have juggled work, life, and study to earn a credential that will empower you to see your roles for your industries through a new, informed lens. Some say the world doesn't need any more lawyers, but we know better. The world needs more advocates, more analytical thinkers, more ethically grounded leaders who are ready to tackle the complex challenges facing society. We don't just need lawyers. We need the kind of lawyers you have become. The mission of the University of Cincinnati is to impact lives and improve society, locally, nationally, and globally. And that is exactly what UC Law does every day. Our College of Law has never been just about textbooks and tests, but about real-world experiences, with a majority of our graduates completing internships or externships that often turn into career-defining roles. And so today, as you prepare to take the next step, I encourage you to carry forward the words of one of our most distinguished alumni, William Howard Taft, who served as the 27th President of the United States, the 10th Chief Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court, and yes, as Dean of the University of Cincinnati College of Law. He once said, "We must dare to be great, and we must realize that greatness is the fruit of toil and sacrifice and high courage." You have already shown that courage in your studies, your advocacy, your persistence. Now, as UC Law Bearcats, dare to be great. On behalf of the University of Cincinnati, I'm incredibly proud of each and every one of you. Congratulations again, class of 2025. Now go and shape the future with justice, integrity, and boldness. Thank you.
Thank you, Provost Nelson, for those inspiring remarks. It is now my pleasure to welcome to the podium a member of the graduating class of 2025 and Student Bar Association President Lauren Schwab to offer her remarks.
Distinguished faculty, staff, family, and friends, thank you for all being with us here today. I am honored to be speaking before you as the 2024 to 2025 Student Bar Association President. As any student sitting in this room will tell you, law school is no walk in the park. It took countless hours of studying, many late nights spent editing briefs, and a few minor breakdowns for all of us to get to where we are today. And for many of us, this marks the end of a long career as a student. This is no small feat, and I think that each and every one of us should allow ourselves to feel pride in our hard work finally paying off. You know, it's a strange experience for us all to be in the same room again, which is something that I don't think has happened since our first week at orientation. And somehow, that both feels like yesterday and a lifetime ago, that we walked into this brand new law school, all sitting in 160 together with no AC and somehow no working outlets. And we felt like freshmen again on the first day of high school. And we didn't know that we would soon be subjected to con law with a no laptop policy, civil procedure cold calls that would make your blood run cold, or debates over what a chicken really is. All we knew was that in this room of 130 other people, we didn't know anyone, and we were nervous about the uncertainty of what was to come. And I'm sure many of us are probably feeling that same uncertainty now as we graduate and we begin our careers. But before we start jumping into the overthinking that us law students are so well known for, we should reflect and think about all that we've accomplished as a class at UC. One of our class's greatest strengths has been our dedication to public service. Whether through our work to exonerate innocent people via the Ohio Innocence Project, preparing asylum applications for those seeking refuge in the United States, providing legal aid, both criminal or civil, to those who otherwise would not be able to afford representation, to the countless pro bono hours, our class dedicates themselves wholeheartedly to public service. However, our class shines not just for this dedication, but for our diversity. We are not only diverse in our backgrounds and our ideology, but in the practice of law and areas that we've committed ourselves to. Our students represented real local small business owners and aspiring entrepreneurs through the Entrepreneurship and Community Development Clinic. They helped business owners protect their intellectual property through the Patent and Trademark Clinic, delved into current issues within the legal community through one of our many law reviews, and gained real-life advocacy skills participating in moot court. While this is already quite the impressive list, I want you to all keep in mind that our students do this on top of a full class load, jobs, and participating in extracurricular student activities. You can call it what you want: overachievers all in one place, an inability to say no, or trauma bonding. But whatever you want to call it, you can't deny that we have made our own community here at UC through our contribution and our involvement. For many of us, this community is what kept us going through it all. When I first moved to Cincinnati, I really felt like I had no one. I had just finished my undergrad at the University of North Carolina, Wilmington, and moved to a new city that I had only ever visited once before. It was incredibly lonely. But I remember calling my mom on the first few days of orientation and telling her I made a mistake and I shouldn't have come to UC. But by the last day of orientation, I realized if I wanted to make a community for myself here, I needed to build it myself. And so I decided I would stay after the orientation sessions for the SBA event that was on the terrace. While waiting for everything to begin, I walked up to a few girls sitting on a bench in the atrium. I introduced myself, and I found out that one of them was in my cohort. I mustered up the courage to invite her to sit and study with me, which is one of the perks of law school. You have homework before the school year begins. But little did I know, that girl would end up becoming my best friend and would introduce me to the rest of my friend group. Soon, I found myself loving Cincinnati and UC Law, and the city didn't feel so lonely anymore. I joined organizations like the Student Bar Association and the Human Rights Quarterly, and my support circle began to grow. Before I knew it, I had surrounded myself with some of the best people I have ever met, and people that I know will be my lifelong friends. I, like many others in our class, found community here at UC Law, for which I am forever grateful. And I would not be giving this speech today if not for this community. I want to take a moment, and I want to thank everybody who has gotten us to where we are. Thank you to our professors who believed in us when we didn't believe in ourselves, and for always being willing to take time out of your busy schedules to answer students' questions, for mentoring us, and for grading our exams even when you probably didn't want to. To the admin, thank you for your dedication to the student body and the law school. Your work is often thankless and done silently in the background, but the school would not function as well as it does without you. Your constant support and diligence in making the law school a better place for all is certainly appreciated, and it does not go unnoticed. To all of our family, friends, and partners who were able to be with us today, and for those who are supporting from afar, thank you for supporting us through 3 years of this, answering many a panic phone call the night before an exam, allowing us to bore you with our explanations of personal jurisdiction, and for being our rocks. We could not have done this without you. When you first enroll in law school, you know you're going to learn about the law itself. But I think many of us are walking away having learned lessons far greater than any legal rule. We graduate today with the knowledge that the education that you have worked relentlessly to receive is a privilege and an honor, knowing it is not enough to argue well, but we must also listen to those around us. And we cannot simply advocate, we must lead. As lawyers, we're in a unique position to truly make a difference in the world around us for the better, and we have a responsibility to uphold this esteemed profession. So whether you're headed to a courtroom, a boardroom, a nonprofit, somewhere else, or you're not quite sure what the future holds for you yet, carry forward the commitment to justice that brought you here. As First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt once said, "Surely, in the light of history, it is more intelligent to hope rather than to fear, to try rather not to try. For one thing we know beyond all doubt, nothing has ever been achieved by the person who says it cannot be done." Thank you, and congrats to the class of 2025.
Thank you, Lauren. I appreciate that, and I told you we're working on those outlets. So, anyway. In a small, tight-knit college, turning to something a little more serious, in a small, tight-knit college, the loss of a student is truly an impactful one. Within the College of Law, we unfortunately lost a scholar, a leader, an advocate, and a friend to many, Chrissy Sanford, Chrissy would have graduated this year, and her passing was both untimely, unfortunate, deeply tragic. She left a spirit and an impact with those with whom she spent time, both in and outside of the classroom. I'd like to welcome to the podium Emily Kodolak and Elizabeth Music, members of the class of 2025 and friends of Chrissy, so that they could offer some memories and remarks of this remarkable and wonderful human being.
Thank you, and good afternoon. For those of you who didn't know Chrissy well and are hearing her name for the first time today, I'm honored to share a small piece of who she was with you. They say law school brings lifelong friends, and for me, that is absolutely true. But what no one prepares you for is losing one of them. Chrissy passed away unexpectedly, and the sadness of her absence is profound, especially knowing that she isn't here today to get the diploma that she worked tirelessly for. Still, even in grief, I am honored to speak about the incredible person I was lucky enough to know and call my friend. Chrissy was brilliant. In class, she asked questions that challenged us to think differently and connected ideas in ways that left the rest of us in awe. Law seemed to come naturally to her. She worked incredibly hard, but things that took me a week to understand often clicked for her in just a couple of days. She served as the TA for torts, pursued meaningful work in the public sector, and when I first met her, she aspired to be a judge. She came to law school wanting to make a difference. While that difference may not have been a legal one, I can honestly say she accomplished her goal because of the difference she made in my life. As impressive as her intellect was, it was her kindness that left the deepest mark. Even when she was stressed, tired, or overwhelmed, she always had a smile to give to somebody. She always sent a funny meme just at the right time, or had a quiet, unwavering show of support. Chrissy made people feel like they mattered. She welcomed them with open arms. She just had a kind of beautiful presence about her. We met during our 1L year as part of the same cohort, which means we were side by side nearly every day. She couldn't get rid of me. She was, in fact, the first person I met at law school. We were both really nervous and unsure about entering into a school where we knew nobody. She reached out asking if I wanted to get tacos. It was a small gesture, but it changed absolutely everything for me. That simple act of kindness was the beginning of a friendship that shaped my entire law school experience. She welcomed me, introduced me to the people who became my support system, and made me feel like I belonged. There's so much more I could say. No words will ever fully capture the joy, strength, and integrity that she brought into this world. But I hope that gives you even a glimpse of the remarkable person that she was. And I hope we can carry that spirit with us as we move forward into a profession that can often be harsh and unkind. Never underestimate the power of reaching out or inviting someone to lunch or making them feel seen. Chrissy did that for me, and I will forever be grateful for her. Thank you.
Dear students, friends, family, faculty, and staff, my name is Emily Kodolak, and I thank you for taking the time out of our celebratory mood to talk about a very special person, a very special friend. Her name is Chrissy Sanford, and I have a whole lot of love and a whole lot of hurt as I'm standing in front of you all today. Many of you know Chrissy, know of her in some capacity, but many of you do not. I hope to share with you all today a little bit about who she was. Whenever we got dinner together and that she loved the food that she was eating, she did a little happy dance. Whenever I or someone else said a really bad joke, she would let out a breath and look at you fondly and smile. Whenever I would pick her up at her house or take her home, she would always say, "Thanks, buddy." Whenever we had a reading or study date, she stayed with me for as long as I needed because I just wanted to be in her company. She loved the color yellow. She loved going out. We spent countless nights together up into the morning hours just talking about life in general, and I find that those conversations are the best that I've ever had. She loved her boyfriend, Benton, and it was such an honor to see them get together and see a couple genuinely find each other. She loved her father and her grandmother. She loved her hometown in West Virginia, and she loved her undergraduate school, Berea, and the friends she met there. It was so fun getting to know and getting to unlock facets of her life and what made her, her. Chrissy is one of the few people in your life that you would meet who was a genuine person, genuine in her kindness, her actions, words, and thoughts. She took every interaction seriously and always tried to be a good friend. I hung out with her so much, and I'm so thankful that I did, so thankful for these memories. We took a road trip to West Virginia with our friend Ludwina, and we were just so excited to go together. Please have a friend in your life who supports your little whimsies, just as she did with me. Take those trips, share those moments and memories, and just enjoy being in your friend's presence. It is unforgettable treasure, and I wish every one of you will walk out not only with a JD, but with also somebody in mind who helped get you there. Mine was Chrissy. She had a lot of love to share, and I just want to reflect on her law school friends for a moment. Connor, Elizabeth, Kelsey, Liam, and Sam, she loved you, and I loved our friend group and the friendship y'all shared with her. She talked about you guys all the time, and she will be forever with you, and she's celebrating your achievements here today too. Thank you so much for letting me share today about my love for my friend Chrissy. I hope with Elizabeth and my words about her, you get to see her for her. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily and Elizabeth, for those really moving remarks. When we were made aware of Chrissy's passing, we submitted a request to the Office of the Executive Vice President and Provost to award Chrissy a posthumous degree. I'm pleased to share that Provost Nelson reviewed Chrissy's records and determined that she did qualify for a posthumous degree. And therefore, upon the recommendation of the faculty and as the Dean of the University of Cincinnati College of Law, I'm authorized to award this Juris Doctorate degree posthumously to Kristen Leanne Sanford. Unfortunately, Chrissy's father was unable to join us today for today's event. Chrissy's diploma and hood will be delivered to Mr. Sanford accordingly. If we could just have one more round of applause for Chrissy Sanford. Each year, the 3L class recognizes an outstanding graduate of the University of Cincinnati College of Law with the Nicholas Longworth III Alumni Achievement Award. This award honors an alumna or alumnus of the college who represents the goals and aspirations of the graduating class. This year's recipient is Lindsay Burke. Lindsay Burke is a social worker turned attorney from Lexington, Kentucky. Educated in social work at Florida State University in 2005, the University of Chicago with a master's degree in 2012, and then law at the University of Cincinnati College of Law, JD 2015. Lindsay was named the first UC Law Public Interest Honors Fellow and received the UC Class of 2015 Public Service Award. Admitted to the Kentucky Bar in 2015, she founded and opened Micah Legal, a nonprofit organization providing sliding scale legal representation in the justice gap between free legal aid services and market rate attorneys in February of 2017. She's been successfully representing clients in that space ever since. In 2020, Lindsay was honored with the Kentucky Bar Association's Young Lawyers Division Public Service Award, and in 2023, she was named the Fayette County Bar Association's Outstanding Young Lawyer. In 2022, Lindsay expanded her public service by being elected as a state representative in Kentucky's 75th district. 2024, she was chosen by her caucus to serve as minority whip. She's focused her political service on women's health, housing, and justice issues. Lindsay lives in Lexington and with her attorney, a husband, and fellow UC Law alum Spencer Mancelis, and their two young sons, Ewan and Finn. Lindsay, please come forward. With great admiration, the class of 2025 presents the Nicholas Longworth III Alumni Achievement Award to Lindsay Burke for her outstanding professional achievements and commitment to the highest level of excellence in service, which represents the aspirations of the class of 2025. Congratulations.
Good afternoon, graduates, faculty, family, and friends. It's an honor to stand before you today, 10 years after I sat where you sit now, overheating in my robe and my tam and about to burst from anticipation and pride. To say that being chosen as a distinguished alumna of UC College of Law is a surprise would be an understatement. I've had plenty of missteps and stumbles mixed into my joys and accomplishments. My path hasn't always been linear. There have been highs mixed in with lows, and then more lows, and then some highs. Like many young law students and lawyers, I once bought into the notion that life is a race to rank highest in the class. I didn't. To pass the bar. I did. To land the best job. I didn't. A race to bill the most hours. I didn't. A race to be seen, respected, promoted. I ran fast and hard, but I started to realize that I was missing a lot of what I hoped my life would be by only striving forward. See, no one tells you this when you graduate with a law degree. The law can make you fast. It will sharpen your mind, hone your instincts, and train you to anticipate arguments before they're even spoken. But it can narrow your vision if you're not careful. It can convince you that the goal is always ahead of you, always somewhere you haven't reached yet. And so today I want to offer you a different perspective, one that's guided me in recent years. Life is not a race, it's a dance. Think about it. In a race, you keep your head down, you look straight ahead, you don't stop, you push through pain, you don't look back. You certainly don't veer off course to take in the view. But in a dance, you move forward, yes, but also backward, sideways, sometimes in circles. You pause, you breathe, you listen to the rhythm and tempo of the music and to your partner. You pivot when the melody changes, and most importantly, you enjoy it. You feel it. You let yourself be in it. And that, graduates, is my hope for you. As you go out into this world with your shiny new degrees that you've worked so hard to attain, don't just chase the next thing. Don't run through your life like it's a checklist of accomplishments. Instead, give yourself permission to twirl, to stumble, to laugh, to change partners, to try a new style, to sit out a song and catch your breath. I promise you, the view from the dance floor is much richer than the view from the finish line. Now, I'm not giving you a pass on hard work. You wouldn't have made it this far if you didn't already know how to push yourself. But there's a difference between drive and frenzy, between ambition and anxiety. You can be brilliant, but also be kind, fierce, but also playful, accomplished, and also at peace. One of the most powerful things an attorney or lawyer can do is to see the world from multiple perspectives. That's how we win. That's how we find commonality and solutions. And that's also how we find meaning. When you're dancing, really dancing, you're attuned not just to your own steps, but to the energy in the room, to the experience of others. You realize you're part of something larger. And that awareness, that empathy, that ability to lift your eyes and see beyond yourself, that's what makes a truly great attorney and a truly full human life. So if you find yourself in a courtroom someday, heart pounding, knees trembling, remember, it's just one song. Breathe, feel it, move with it. And when you find yourself stuck and burned out, wondering what all of this was for, don't keep running. Pause. Listen. Let yourself sway to a new rhythm. This may be the moment that reveals who you're becoming. Class of 2025, you're already extraordinary. You've made it through casebooks and cold calls, internships and outlines. You've made it through late nights and long doubts. And now you're ready, not just to run, but to dance. So get out there, step boldly, change tempo and direction, laugh often at yourself when you stumble on the dance floor, because if you're really dancing, you will. Don't be afraid to try out new things, and above all, don't be afraid to enjoy the music. Thank you for the honor of including me in your special day. You'll never forget the way you feel today and the way the people in this room feel about you. So thank you and congratulations.
Thank you for those inspiring remarks, Lindsay. And now please welcome Brandon Clegg, the class of 2009 and president of the University of Cincinnati College Alumni Board.
Greetings, class of 2025. As president of the UC Law Alumni Association, I bring greetings on behalf of the UC Law alumni and welcome you to an alliance of great scholars filled with social justice leaders, accomplished authors, Emmy Award winners, political leaders, judges, politicians, a president, and now each and every one of you. Graduating from the University of Cincinnati College of Law brings a lifetime of opportunities for each of you. You have all worked so hard to get here and have earned your place in the spotlight today. As you enter the world with your law degree, you're entering a world where the need for legal comprehension and proficiency in the practice of law are abundant. The lessons you are departing with will serve as powerful tools that you can use to make a difference in your life and the life of others around you. To the family of those before us today, thank you for being there for each of your legal scholars. The journey through law school is filled with many challenges and requires a team of folks to persevere. Without your care and assistance, so many of the students standing here today would not have shined as brightly as they do. And for that, I extend a warm thank you to each of you. So Bearcats, as you head off on your next voyage in your legal careers, I offer 2 lessons that you can take with you. The first lesson is that you are now intrinsically tied to a collection of legal scholars teeming with wisdom, experience, and compassion. As a new legal Bearcat, it is your responsibility to fully exhaust your access to the wealth of legal knowledge and experience abounding from the global community of your fellow alumni. The streams of knowledge that emanate from the growing network of law alumni remain just a few clicks away. Remember to reach out and build relationships with those Bearcats waiting for your arrival. The generations of attorneys who came before you are ready and willing to answer the call, just as you will do for the generations that follow you. The second lesson I want you to remember is that no one travels this journey alone. Let the bonds that you've made with your classmates endure through the rest of your life. The friendships you've made over class outlines, exam study groups, and major life events should not be discarded as you build new relationships and travel along new paths. Although life may take you on adventures far and wide, you do not let the memories and the bonds that you have made here at the UC College of Law fade into the abyss. I am honored and proud to say, congratulations, Bearcats, and welcome to the University of Cincinnati College of Law Alumni Association.
And now it's my distinct honor and privilege to introduce my friend and the graduation speaker, Michael Chiaffi. As a partner in the international law firm of Blank Rome LLP, Michael manages the Cincinnati office. Representing small businesses to Fortune 500 companies, his areas of expertise include general corporate advice, corporate and commercial litigation, and environmental law. Besides practicing law, Mr. Chiavi has been an adjunct professor at our College of Law for more than 35 years, teaching a wide variety of courses such as evidence, trial practice, and a course entitled Law, Literature, and Philosophy. We're going to be doing a Shakespeare debate, by the way, Michael and I, later on. You're not going to be here, but the next class will benefit from it. Michael is also a co-founder and trustee of the Justice Institute for the Legal Profession, a 501c3 corporation whose mission is to provide educational programs based on the humanities for lawyers and judges in the United States and Europe. In addition to his love of the law, Michael has a deep interest in Renaissance culture, the arts, and humanities since first studying them in depth as a great books major at the University of Notre Dame in the 1970s. As a frequent visitor to Tuscany, he grew enamored with, I'm going to mess this up, but Castiglione del Triniro, I should have probably practiced that, sorry, a medieval hamlet in the province of Siena. Beginning in 2006, he began to purchase and renovate villas in that area that I just mentioned. This passion has grown into a world-class collection of exquisitely restored Tuscan rental villas and a boutique hotel named Monteverde. Michael created the Arts and Scholars in Residence program. Each year, Monteverde invites several accomplished men and women from the world of the performing and visual arts, culinary arts, literature, philosophy, and science to visit and reside in Monteverde to perform, lecture, lead seminars and book discussions, and generally interact with the guests. Despite a full plate with legal work and Tuscan dreams, Michael regularly gives back to his hometown of Cincinnati. He has served as a director of the Cincinnati Opera and Cincinnati Symphony Orchestra and is a regular contributor to and supporter of the United Way, Arts Wave, a Free Store Food Bank, Tender Mercies, Hospice of the Bluegrass, Northern Kentucky, Boys and Girls Club of Greater Cincinnati, Cincinnati Bar Foundation, and the Cincinnati Shakespeare Company. Michael and his wife, Rachel Rowe, have an endowed significant scholarship at the University of Cincinnati College of Law, named for my predecessor, the Verna Williams and Dable Singleton Dean's Scholarship for Inclusive Excellence. The purpose of this scholarship is to attract and retain a student body representative of the state of Ohio and to support economically disadvantaged students. In a tribute to his close friend and law partner of 20 years, Judge Jones, Nathaniel R. Jones, historic and strong member of our community and of our college, a supporter of our college, and in further commitment to the greater Cincinnati community, Michael and Rachel endowed a chair at the Cincinnati Symphony Orchestra called the Honorable Nathaniel R. Jones Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer Chair. The goal of this chair is to foster artistic excellence in an environment of racial, ethnic, and gender equality. It is with beaming pride that I introduce today's distinguished speaker, Mr. Michael L. Chiavi.
Dean Hammoudi, you've been a great leader of the law school. You're a great legal scholar, renowned around the world, but I think your calling is really creative writing, with the emphasis on creativity. So I'm a little bit now fearful of our debate in the fall about who really wrote the Shakespeare plays. But thank you for those kind comments. Distinguished faculty, ladies and gentlemen, and to the class of 2025, first and above all, congratulations. You finally made it from that nagging question in orientation, what the have I signed up for? You made it through the thickets of Contracts 1, of Con Law 1, to this proud moment in time. You LLM graduates and MLS graduates have toiled even longer in your education. It is an honor to address you at such an important milestone in your lives. Having sat where you sit today, I firmly believe that commencement speeches should be clear, crisp, and above all, concise. But my most recent closing argument a few months ago ran a little over 3 hours. So, buckle up. Not to worry, it'll go a little bit faster than the 3 years, the 4 years, the 5 years many of you put into your education so far. Slightly faster. The greatest privilege I have today, however, is to be the first to welcome you to the legal profession. It is such a high honor because ours is not just any profession. It is the cornerstone profession that makes all other professions, indeed all human endeavors, possible. It is the cornerstone profession because it, our work, yours and mine and the other lawyers in the room, make civilization possible. I say this not to be hyperbolic or boastful, but I say it solemnly and with humility, knowing that we as lawyers have important, challenging, hard work to do every day. I say this because our work, our business, is nothing less than justice itself. Our profession, at its best, is the business of justice. It is to make justice possible, to make it real, to make it meaningful in the daily lives of everyone in our society. When I say justice, I'm not referring to some theoretical, pie-in-the-sky, self-serving set of beliefs, whether advanced by the right or the left as a way to acquire and maintain power. Justice has no political affiliation. I'm talking about something simultaneously sublime and gritty, something very real that happens every day through the hard work of lawyers. Something Plato taught us is synonymous with the good and with harmony. Justice as that virtue, that good, affected through a system of laws enacted for the common good. It is justice through law that allows us to live together, work together, argue and reason with one another, prosper and grow together. Now consider the alternative to justice through law. Dean Hammoudi gave you a really vivid example, and carry that with you from this day forward. But the alternative to justice through law is what Thomas Hobbes called the state of nature. Hobbes vividly described the state of nature as, quote, the war of every man against every man, a violent world of competition in which every individual has a right to do everything regardless of the interests of others. He famously noted that life in such a world is solitary, nasty, brutish, and short. Like the Night's Watch defending the wall, for you GOT fans out there, we defend against the dangers Hobbes described. We make possible the alternative to Hobbes, which is civilization. Mankind's passage from the state of nature to civilization was first described by Aeschylus in the Oresteia trilogy, written about 2,500 years ago. The three plays culminate in the trial of Orestes. The fact pattern, conceitedly, is a bit extreme. You'll remember Orestes is tried in Athens for the murder of his mother, Clytemnestra, a revenge killing committed by Orestes because Clytemnestra murdered her husband and his father, Agamemnon, because Agamemnon killed their daughter, Iphigenia, as a sacrifice to the gods for favorable winds as he set off to fight Troy. Orestes was tried by a jury of 10 Athenian citizens in a process very much looks like a modern-day trial. Well, Apollo was defense counsel, and the goddess Athena was the judge, so maybe it's a little bit different. I haven't seen those guys in a courtroom in some time. But I hope all of you who are going to go into family law take heed, and you can really muster the courage to handle a dysfunctional family like Clytemnestra's and Agamemnon's. Prepare yourselves. The point of the play, of course, is that in a civilized society, one no longer has the right to do whatever he wants, to disregard the rights and interests of others. In a civilized society, retribution and punishment may no longer be administered by individuals in the state of nature, but only by justice through law. The trial in the Orestes trilogy, Justice Through Due Process of Law, marks the end of the state of nature and the beginning of civilization. Friction, conflict, and dispute are inevitable when man tries to live together to form cities, states, and countries. Hard enough in ancient Greece with a population of 7 million. Infinitely harder today in an America of 390 million and a world of 8.2 billion people. Every one of us, all 8.2 billion, seeking the same things, not just food, shelter, and clothing, but we all have hopes and dreams. The dream to raise a family, start a business, invent and build roads, bridges, cities, skyscrapers, and rocket ships. To create art, music, literature, paintings, and sculpture, movies and plays. In short, because we are social by nature, we want civilization. We need civilization to achieve our hopes and dreams, raise our families, build our businesses, make music and art. This means we must have a mechanism for resolving disputes and conflicts. To work, that mechanism must be fair. It must be just so that people will accept it. In other words, we can only have civilization if we abandon the chaos of resolving our grievances and disputes individually through force, power, and violence, and instead resolve those disputes justly and fairly through law. In a civilized society, might does not make right. The legal process Aeschylus described 2,500 years ago looks very much like our system of justice, our trials today, with a jury hearing the facts from advocates, you, presided over by a judge, some of you in the future. Orestes' fate is not left to individual passion, revenge, or even the power of the gods or the state, but to justice through law. Our profession is the cornerstone profession because all of civilization literally depends on how well we effect justice through law, how well we fairly resolve the millions of conflicts and disputes that arise every day in our society. As a profession, we are pulled into the middle of and called upon to resolve conflicts and disputes of consequence in society. This is true regardless of the area of practice you choose. For M&A lawyers, the dispute might be whether a company is worth $10 million or $10 billion. For the environmental lawyer, whether the MCL, maximum contaminant level, of a particular carcinogen in drinking water is 0.01 or 0.05 ppm, or how to allocate the $500 million cleanup cost of a hazardous site among 100 different PRPs, potentially responsible parties. For the family lawyer, should mom, dad, or neither have custody of a child? For the civil rights lawyer, what constitutes a violation of the First Amendment or the Equal Protection Clause? These are hard disputes to resolve, made harder by the fact that there are always at least two sides fighting over every issue. And you're soon going to learn there are often 3, 4, 5 sides, each fighting for their version of the right answer, each represented by their own lawyers. We are the profession caught in the crossfire of the conflicts and disputes inherent in a world of 8.2 billion people trying to live in something other than the state of nature. We are the profession everyone depends on to make it all come out okay, to make the world fair and just. We cannot fail because the alternative is chaos, a nasty, brutish, and short life for everyone. No question, this is hard work you have chosen. Some days it will bring you to tears, if not drive you to your knees. You will stay up nights working and worrying if you have gotten it right and represented your clients well. But our work is also exhilarating and rewarding precisely because it is so hard and the stakes are so high. The hopes, dreams, and often lives of our clients, their businesses and families, their hopes and dreams are on the line. Today, the stakes have never been higher. And there has never been a better time to be a lawyer. The stakes are high, the opponents are tough and relentless. The clock's running down. Call for the ball, because there's never been a better time to be a lawyer. What will it take to be successful? After 45 years of practicing, I wish I knew. I have no monopoly on answers or the truth. But after 45 years of practicing, I have a few ideas. As Friedrich Nietzsche would say, these are internal messages, my ideas, that your mind commands your will to perform. Will them to happen, and you will be successful and happy in the law. You will make a difference in the world. Number one, 5. Number 1. Be the most competent lawyer in the room. Much of our profession comes down to a relatively simple equation. Competence equals credibility. Demonstrate your competence each day and every day, and judges will believe you, your colleagues will believe you, and most importantly, your clients will believe you and pay you well, and on time. This will help make you happy, not to mention your spouses, partners, sons, and daughters. Number 2, be all in, totally committed. You cannot be competent without commitment to taking the time to master the facts and law that govern the matters entrusted to you by your clients. You have learned a lot, but realize you have a lot more to learn. Stay curious. Never be complacent. Number 3, believe in karma. No incense required. When my youngest daughter was about 7, we were playing on the beach one day with a Nerf football. And I said, "Hey, Addie, watch this." And I threw the ball out into the waves. And it came riding back to us. And then I threw it again farther, and it came right back again. And I threw it a third time farther, and I said to her, no matter how far I throw the ball, it always comes back to us. She looked up at me and said, "You mean like karma, Dad?" Now, mind you, she's 7. She's squeezing my hand lovingly, but with a little bit of that loving sort of patronizing attitude that daughters show their fathers, like, "You know, Dad, you're getting up there, so if you listen to me, I'll sort of explain how things work in the world." But I thought, yeah, that's a pretty sharp kid for 7. Maybe she'll be a lawyer someday, like her older brother, Michael, who and her older daughter, or her older sister, Gina, both of whom are proud graduates of this law school. What she taught me that day, and I've thought about it, of course, is that how you treat others in the profession, colleagues, judges, and clients, will always come back to you. But for us as lawyers, karma is something even deeper. How you approach the profession, the care and attention you put into it will always come back to you throughout your career. I remember as a very young lawyer doing research and writing memos I believed at the time were mindless and stupid. But today, decades later, I recall and rely on the skills I developed in writing them, how to organize thoughts and present compelling arguments. The effort you put into the profession every day from your first day will always come back to you. Cut corners, and those gaps in your professional knowledge will show up later in life. Cross every T, dot every I, be committed, be competent, and that knowledge will come back to you decades later in your profession. Number 4, embrace paradox. In addition to Aeschylus and Plato, another of my favorite Greek philosophers and poets is Heraclitus. He teaches us that all things in the world are in flux, constantly changing. The world you see one minute is different the next. You can never step into the same river twice. This is true, of course, in our profession. The problems, fact patterns, and nature of the conflicts we deal with are constantly changing, as are the strategies and solutions we need to solve them. Whenever you think you have the right answer, whenever you're 100% certain, question it, re-examine it, dig deeper, because paradoxically, things are never quite the way they seem on the surface. Because it is a universal principle, the primacy of paradox applies in both our professional and personal lives. The more you give, the more you will have. By virtue of your extraordinary education, your talent, your character, people need you. Be generous with your time. Join and lead social organizations, charitable and civic groups. They make our world a better place, and throughout history, lawyers have been the driving force behind them. Never say never, especially to your spouses, partners, and families. The time you give them will be returned to you and make you the best version of yourselves. Number 5, stay strong. Pay close attention to your physical and mental health. Our profession is incredibly stressful because we are at the center and responsible for resolving the contention and the conflict in our world and society. Bringing about harmony through justice and the rule of law is not work for the weak. Be strong. In recognition of this fact, you will find that the profession, through bar associations, law firms, agencies, and others who employ you, have a large number of programs to help you keep your physical and mental strength. Use them. Spend equal time in the gym and at the lunch and dinner table, restaurants and bars. Perhaps you need no encouragement on that latter point, but I'm encouraging you nevertheless, spend time in the bars with colleagues, friends, and family. It is those relationships that keep you grounded and happy. I'll close with a confession. From my first day in our profession to today, about 45 years later, sometimes I have been tired. Often I have been frustrated. Always I have been worried about how the next case, conflict, and fight will come out. Some days I think how lucky I am because I could walk away tomorrow and lead a very comfortable life and never work another day. But I'm not going to stop. I'm going to stay in the fight with you. I'm honored to be a lawyer. I'll be honored to be a lawyer when you begin practicing alongside all of you. I'm honored to be an advocate representing the hopes, dreams of my clients. I love our profession. Each day in the law has made me a happier and better person. After all, ours is not just any profession. It is the cornerstone profession. Go now and celebrate your wonderful achievement today. Go tomorrow and cherish your lives as lawyers. Go and always do justice. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. That was truly inspiring, and it helps show what I'm up against, because when it comes to verbal dexterity, logic, reasoning, and advocacy, Michael is my superior in every way. So I do look forward with some trepidation to our debate. I only have one advantage, which is that I happen to be right. So Now for the moment that you've been waiting for. The candidates will receive the Purple Velvet Hood, which is the emblem of the Master of Legal Studies degree, the Masters of Law degree, and the Juris Doctor degree. First, we will announce our MLS candidates, followed by our LLM candidates, and finally our JD candidates. The candidates will be hooded by Professors Thorson and Lenhart. And just before we start, very quickly, you might remember that at the very beginning, I sort of named everybody up on the platform, except for Ryan and Kate. But that was one of those low points you were talking about. But I named everybody else up here, and I said, please hold your applause until the very end. You don't need to do that now. In fact, I encourage you not to do that. Your child, your loved one is graduating from law school. This is a big deal. So please make as much noise as you can. Raise the roof when you hear their names. All right, so please welcome Professor Emily Ho. She will be reading the names of the candidates.
So first, I will introduce the students who are receiving their MLS degrees. Please come up on the stage to receive your hood when I call your name. Wendy Carol Anderson. Pamela Buckingham in absentia. Andrew Butler. Lindsay K. Bird. Chelsea Chase. Miracle Katrina Dixon. Amanda Farmer in absentia. Amanda Lynn Feltner. Rebecca Johnson. Sade Ashley Johnson. Cody Lee Kindle in absentia. Martin Ludwig in absentia. Jayla Maya Mason. Tanesha McGraw. Jennifer Northup in absentia. Adrian Rudy in absentia. Reginald Shipman. Jamie Taylor. Andres D. Willingham. Jennifer Wolf in absentia. Next, I will introduce the students who are receiving their LLM degrees. Please come up on the stage to receive your hood when I call your name. Daniela Amaya Ramos. Aurora Bayard. Laura Bianco. Danielle Borja. Prune Deleu. Laura Fiore. Gilda Frosset. Benedetta Gabo. Rupal Gopal Goria. Ijana Kakuzeva. Alina Azbekina. Sukrab Norbakov. Jorge Andres Otero Osa. Federica Salagari. Dan Tempia. Clotilda Tomasini. Lotaro Volpi. Now we will continue with students who are receiving their JD degrees. Again, please come up on the stage to receive your hood when I call your name. Tawfiq Ali Abedali. Mitchell Allen. Nick Anderson. Avery Alexandra Otten. Ainsley Chandler Ayers. Katie Jo Bancroft. Sophie Banco. Elizabeth Caroline Beach Johnson. Michaela Maria Beetham Garcia. Andrea Wujik Beck. Tyler Joseph Benson. Shannon Lee Black. Matthew Ryan Blaine. Julie Marie Bly. Justin Boyle. Kate Mackenzie Brewer. Michelle Renee Broderson. Madeline Elizabeth Brown. Ross Chambers. Camille Thompson Chandler. Yu Ting Chen. Thomas Arnold Cleary, Jr. Shannon Morgan Conroy. Delaney Aaron Cook. Mia Nicole Cordell. Mia is being hooded by her husband, Stephen Cordell, College of Law, class of 2024. Lainey Cox. Madison Mackenzie Crawford. Josephine Croce. Jacob Tyler Daniels. Alyssa Mariana Deo. Drew Isaac Deere. John Thomas Deal. John is being hooded by his father, Thomas James Deal, College of Law, class of 1988. Tobias Doza. Liam Dowling. Liam is being hooded by his fiancée, Angela Landa, College of Law, class of 2022. Sam Farah. Megan Christine Fisher. Cristo Valentu Fassi. Connor Frankhauser. Caroline Ann Gallo. Valerie Garcia. Andrew Garrity. Cecilia Giles. Sam Gotchak. Jake Newton Goodwin. Emily Ann Hamaker. Dejanique Monet Ham. Reagan Michelle Hanna. Emily Cecilia Harmon. Parker Suzanne Heron. Tess Elizabeth Abbott Hogan. Madison Marie Hollander. Nicholas Anders Hovey. Connor Neil Hurley. Sebastian Johnson. Marcus Paul Jones. Emma Marguerite Kalucky. Ahmed Hassan Kodir. Emily Kodalak. Kelsey Jean Lackey. CJ Leonard. Seth Robert Litwin. Seth is being hooded by his mother, Amy Litwin, College of Law, class of 1992. Anna Marcioni. Ainsley Elizabeth Marlett. Libby Matthews. Alexander Mayanja Nkanji. Madeline Page McCabe. Mickey McClanahan. Mackenzie K. McNeil. Abigail Rose McNichols. Thomas Drake Meeks. Richard James Misiskia, Jr. Jeffrey Mark Molman. Kyle David Moody. Molly Moore. Elizabeth Grace Morris. Frida Adelina Murga. Elizabeth Music. Deborah Myers. Bethany Joy Notestein. Timothy Richard Novak. Danielle Marie Okoro. Kyle Ronald Perrin. Brian Patrick. Madison Lynn Phillips. Kristen Lee Pierce. Hugh Poland IV. Beth Ann Powers. Charles Powers. Matthew Pryor. Kylie Meyer Roton. Ben Reininger. Olivia Grace Rosado. Audrey Elizabeth Rotman. Taylor Lee Ryan. Sarah Bugal Saeda. Sadie Jane Sand. Elizabeth Ann Sanders. Catherine Grace Schulte. Lauren Kaylee Schwab. Kelly Schweikert. Caitlin Sedergren. Alexander Joseph Sewell. Richard Douglas Sharp. Jaspreet Singh. Megan Lynn Smith. Sarah Ann Smith. Sarah Isabella Saunier. Sydney Renee Sparks. Courtney Blake Spencer. Simcha Spencer in absentia. Veronica Lynn Stewart. Lillian Tapia Fernandez. Magali Taylor. Jenna Shea Thomas. Christian Stephen Thompson. Emilio Tovia. Brian Traub. William Randall Fermo alum. William is being hooded by Judge Randall T. Ullum, College of Law, class of 2000. Kara Mackenzie Ulring. Megan Delaney Van Gilder. Braden Lee Vickers. Isabel May Vike. Tyler Blaze Andrew Walker. Madeline Renee Ward. Madison Nicole White. Ellen Marie Whitehair. Audrey Marie Woodward. And Annika Rose Pagio Young.
It is now my honor and privilege to introduce you as graduates of the University of Cincinnati College of Law. Please join me in one more round of applause for the College of Law class of 2025. And now it's my pleasure to adjourn our proceedings. As we adjourn, please keep moving when you reach the lobby and exit the third arena as soon as possible, meeting your guests outside. There's lovely weather, plenty of space to do that. There isn't really an opportunity inside the building to actually take group photos, but as I say, there's a lovely patio and atrium outside. And with that, it is my privilege and my honor to close the hooding ceremony of the 192nd class of the University of Cincinnati College of Law. We now stand adjourned.